Gopichanna Vallabha Girivaradvari Yashodanandana Vrajachan Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vikhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vikhari Gopichanna Vallabha Girivaradvari Gopichanna Vallabha Girivaradvari Yashodanandana Vrajacana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajacana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrayakacharya Stottar Sachri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Samstapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Prema All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Mishwaram. Thank you for being in one of them. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 51, entitled The Deliverance of Muchukunda. And we will read today verses 32 and 33. 32 doesn't have a purpose. Projecting the verse, any of the two we can sing. Who projects the verse normally? Okay. I guess you can do 32, it's fine. Either way, it's fine. Thank you. Cira-prajāgara-śrānto nidrayāpahatendriyaḥ śaye smin vijane kāmaṁ kenāpy utthāpito dhunā cira-prajāgara-śrānto nidrayāpahatendriyaḥ śaye smin vijane kāmaṁ kenāpy utthāpito dhunā cira-prajāgara-śrānto nidrayāpahatendriyaḥ śaye smin vijane kāmaṁ kenāpy utthāpito dhunā. Utthāpito dhunā. Vaishnavis. Cira-prajāgara-śrānto nidrayāpahatendriyaḥ śaye smin vijane kāmaṁ kenāpy utthāpito dhunā. Translations and purport. Cira, for a long time. Prajāgara, because of remaining awake. Śrāntaḥ, fatigue. Nidrayā, by sleep. Apahata, covered over. Indriyaḥ, my senses. Śaye, I have been lying. Asmin, in this. Vijane, solitary place. Kāmaṁ, as pleases me. Kenāpy, by someone. Utthāpitaḥ, awakened. Adhunā, no. I was fatigued after remaining awake for a long time, and my senses were overwhelmed by sleep. Thus, I slept comfortably here in this solitary place until just now someone woke me. Next verse. Sopi bhasmī-kṛto nūnam. Okay, we can do one time. Sopi bhasmī-kṛto nūnam. Atmiyena-iva papmana. Anantaram bhavan śrīmal. Lakṣito mitra-śāsana. Sahapi, that very person, bhasmī-kṛtaḥ, turned to ashes, nūnam, indeed, atmiyena, by his own, eva, only, papmana, sinful karma, anantaram, immediately following, bhavan, your good self, Shriman, glorious, Lakṣitaḥ, observe, amitra, of enemies, Śāsanaḥ, the chastiser. The man who woke me was burned to ashes by the reaction of his sins. Just then I saw you possessing a glorious appearance and the power to chastise your enemies. Purport. Kalayavana had declared himself the enemy of Sri Krishna and the Yadu dynasty. Through Muchukunda, Sri Krishna destroyed the opposition of that foolish barbarian. Cira-prajāgara-śrānto nidrayāpahatendriyaḥ śaye smin vijane kāmaṁ kenāpy utthāpito dhunā. I was fatigued after remaining awake for a long time, and my senses were overwhelmed by sleep. Thus I slept comfortably here in this solitary place until just now someone woke me. Sopi bhasmī-kṛto nūnam atmiyena-iva papmana anantaram bhavan śrīmal lakṣito mitra-śāsana. The man who woke me was burned to ashes by the reaction of his sins. Just then I saw you possessing a glorious appearance and the power to chastise your enemies. Om ajnana-timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurum militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Nama om Vishnu padaya Krishna prestaya bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami niti namine. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarine Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are reading about this wonderful devotee of the Lord, Muchukunda. He is wonderful because he got special mercy of the Lord, and the Lord generally reciprocates with the service of his devotees. Yaya kāmaṁ prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham mama varmanu vartante manusya partha sarvajaha. The Lord reciprocates with everyone according to who they are. If someone wants to fight the Lord will fight with him. And somebody behaves inimical to the Lord doesn't become inimical, but he will respond according to the desire of the person. So in the case of Muchukunda, he was a great devotee, and the Lord decided to give darshan and to engage him in direct service of his mission. So today I would like to focus one point I wanted to mention is that Muchukunda is a personality with whom we can identify, isn't it? At least for he sleeps, he's kind of, we may say, no, Muchukunda, I'm very advanced, I'm here in Vrindavan, and no Muchukunda, I don't sleep so much. But generally speaking, he's a character we can relate to, isn't it? Sometimes you feel very tired and you take extra sleep. I do sometimes, I confess, in public here. So, even I heard from His Grace Madhusevita Prabhu that even though, generally speaking, Srila Prabhupada will sleep so little, very, very little, 2, 3, 4 hours maximum, very, very few hours, in order to give us Srimad Bhagavatam. But the fact is that in one occasion, Srila Prabhupada, probably he was feeling ill, the body needed rest, and he slept very long. He didn't wake up in the morning and slept very long. And I don't mean to give you arguments to justify when you sleep longer. I don't mean that. Srila Prabhupada also says, if you sleep more than 6 hours, you're in the mode of ignorance. Isn't it? We hear these quotes by Srila Prabhupada in his books. But the point I would like to discuss today, there are many points in the verse, but in the section of Muchukunda, is how Muchukunda was engaged in the mission of the Lord, both while awake and also his sleep, by the grace of the Lord, also became direct devotional service to the Lord to destroy a demon the Lord didn't want to touch, because he was coming from he wanted to observe the customs, like here in India, this happens many times. You want to be traditional, right, to respect the environment. In the West, we are people a bit more relaxed with the environment. Of course, in India, sometimes you can get quite relaxed things, sometimes. In Vrindavan also, you get many relaxed things. So, anyway, the point, how did Muchukunda was engaged in the service of the Lord while awake? He was engaged by fighting against the asuras. In the Paribhasha Sutra of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the pivotal verse of the Bhagavatam, states this: Etecham sakalak pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan svayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. The Lord comes age after age to in different, of course he executes pastimes, but it is specifically mentioned in the verse to destroy the enemies of Indra. We could even question how come the Lord comes to destroy the enemies of Indra. Sometimes Indra misbehaves. But because Indra is sustaining in the universe proper order and the principle of Sanatana Dharma is sustained by the Devatas. There are great yagyas in Indraloka. Many we read in Srila Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita how great sacrificial ceremonies are performed in Indraloka. So naturally, the Lord is present personally as his brother, his younger brother actually, Upendra. And Indra is sustaining in the universe the principles of Sanatana Dharma. And therefore, when Muchukunda joined the army of Kartikeya, like nowadays there are so many wars, sometimes people who feel very strongly about a particular country, a particular camp, they go and they fight. Like some people went from different parts of the world to fight for the cause of Ukraine, because they felt invited. So people from America went. Or like that, sometimes people join. So in the case of Muchukunda, when he was invited to join the army of Kartikeya, he joined because he wanted to serve the Lord, serve the Sanatana Dharma, the mission of the Lord, through the demigods. And he performed that service to the point that he sacrificed everything. Everything was surrendered. We were hearing actually he was announced when he retired, he finished his service in the fighting. They said, okay, you fight it enough. No, you are free to go. But one thing we need to announce you is that you will not have any family members that you know. No kingdom, sorry, you go back to earth, but no kingdom, no family members, no sons, no grandsons. All they have died because the time dimension is different in the higher planets than on this planet. So when he was offered a blessing, he chose to take rest, to sleep, because he needed to sleep, and he asked for that. I identify very much with the character of Muchukunda, because when I'm very tired, I cannot function properly. I need to sleep. And if I'm sleeping and somebody comes and knocks the door, I don't generally open the door, sorry. I'm sleeping. When I'm doing one thing, I do that. Otherwise, it affects my service. The next service will be affected by being very, very tired. So, yeah, we were a few days, we were with a Spanish group of devotees visiting the holy places. We went first to Sri Mayapur, then to Bhubaneswar, and then to Jagannath Puri, and now we came here to cherry on the cake is Sri Vrindavan. Coming to Srila Prabhupada's home. So in one of the places we were staying, in the hotel in Bhubaneswar, we had to rent a room. We were planning to go directly to Puri, but by the arrangements of the Lord, we couldn't enter Puri because there was this big celebration, the opening of the temple. So they told us, you cannot arrive on the 17th to Puri, so you have to either go by train or stay one night in Bhubaneswar. So I took it that this was the mercy of the Lord, so we could visit Srila Gaura Govinda Swami Maharaja's temple. We were very inspired. There was no place in the guest house in Bhubaneswar. So they were knocking I was taking some rest, and they were knocking and knocking. They wanted something, I didn't open, but I felt a little bit like Muchukunda, like not so much because I'm not a Kshatriya, my spirit is, but a little bit. I felt, why they knock so strongly, so rowdy? Normally I'm able to tolerate any noise when I'm sleeping. So Muchukunda was serving in life. He served the mission of the Lord and he sacrificed everything. And this reminded me of the situation of the ISKCON pioneers And maybe now in India also, I don't know how it works. Sometimes the devotee may stay in the brahmachari ashram many years, and then if serving the mission, and then if they choose to marry, of course in India there may be, maybe not, sometimes there are no resources. I remember one pujari was contacting me, wanted to come to Spain, to serve in Spain. He just got married after being many years serving as a brahmachari in, I don't remember in what temple, maybe here in Vrindavan or was in one important temple in India. But he was trying to search for a situation where he could conduct his Brahminical services, his devotional service, and maintain his family. So sometimes devotees, those who are more advanced, they don't feel any regrets. They gave everything in their youth, and they're happy whatever Krishna provided, and Krishna always takes care of his devotees. It functions like that. I don't know cases where devotees were thrown onto the street. I don't know those cases. Maybe I'm not aware. You can during the questions and answers complain about that if you wish. But sometimes devotees, those who are not so advanced, they felt sometimes I gave so much on Sankirtan, then my authorities, sometimes even they gave up. My initiating spiritual master gave up after some years. And now I'm here, now I want to get married. I'm 30 plus, I have no resources. In the case of Muchukunda, he gave everything and he didn't regret. Okay, one of the speakers, I forgot if it was His Holiness Prabodhananda Saraswati Maharaj or His Grace Ishvara Prabhu, one of the speakers was connecting the sleep to say, okay, I have nothing, let me sleep. So he chose that option. But the point is that if we surrender everything to the cause of the Lord, there is nothing to regret about. The Lord takes care of ourselves. Even if we go through some rough situations, like in the case of Muchukunda, he couldn't sleep, his sleep was interrupted, but then he got the greatest prize. He got the darshan of the Lord, of Krishna. They wake you up and you open the door very angry, but then Krishna is there. Then you are very, very happy about it. And then Muchukunda also, he was an instrument in the mission of the Lord by destroying Kalayavana. Parittanaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. The Lord comes to protect his devotees. Srila Prabhupada explains especially, he comes to protect the devotees, to kill the demons, to destroy the miscreants. He can do it in so many other ways. But still when he comes, he also destroys Asuric personalities. So Muchukunda served the Lord to kill Kalayavana, who was an enemy to the Yadu dynasty. He wanted to become the most powerful king. He wanted to fight the Yadus because he just wanted to fight somebody he wanted to become the most powerful king. So he asked Srila Narada Muni, who are the most powerful royal kings? Narada Muni said, the Yadus. So he decided to attack Mathura because he wanted to be the best. This is the condition of the material world, that tendency to compete with others is very strong in the Asuric mindset. So I would like to connect this principle of Muchukunda fighting for the cause of the Lord through the demigods, through the army of Kartikeya, and also serving the Lord when he woke up, even if in this case he didn't intend, he was just used by the Lord, and actually whatever we are doing, it is not we who do it. If we think we are the doers, in Bhagavad Gita Krishna very clearly states, Prakrite kriyamanani unai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. If we think we are the doers, we are muddha, we are foolish. So Muchukunda, very wisely, he took a humble position in front of the Lord when he's having this conversation. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur mentions in regard to today's 2 verses that he didn't say what service he did previously. He didn't say, I was very tired and I deserved the sleep I was taking. Isn't it? He didn't. Sometimes somebody comes, I'm chanting 1 lakh a day. Then we're ruining. When we're saying what service we're doing, we're ruining the bhajan we are performing. So Muchukunda took a humble position and said, I was just asleep. Here, giving me this beautiful darshan, this wonderful mercy. So I would like to connect this to the worldwide mission of spreading Krishna consciousness. And because we are all instruments in the Krishna consciousness movement, we can be better instruments in the service of the Lord according to our level of surrender. Srila Prabhupada writes many times, quotes, by the mercy of Krishna, unless somebody is empowered by the Lord, cannot spread Krishna consciousness in whatever capacity. But from the viewpoint of the Lord, every devotee is contributing. Like in the Ram Lila, now even in Vrindavan, one of the devotees from the Akhanda Kirtan took us around, and he was greeting the Brajavasis in his funny ways. And then he was telling them, Jai Shri Ram, because of the opening of the Shri Ram temple. And the Brajavasis were saying, Jai Shri Ram also. And then Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam. Jai Shri Ram, Radhe Shyam. Jai Radhe Shyam. So in the Ram Lila, we have the case of the squirrel and Hanuman putting the squirrel aside, saying, okay, you are disturbing my big service. But Lord Ramachandra reminded his beloved devotee that no, every bit, every service counts. And for me, I'm taking the service of each and every devotee. Also, His Grace Govardhan Dari Prabhu was taking us around because he speaks Spanish and he knows very well the places and was speaking to the group in the Spanish language. We are very grateful for that. And yesterday when visiting actually we were walking to some of the temples, and then he was mentioning about how Sri Radha Madan Mohan, who before was known as Madan Gopal, worshipped by Sri Advaita Acharya, and how when Sanatana Goswami came and he saw that the family who was taking care of the deity at the time, they were very relaxed in taking care of the deity. The children were playing with Madan Gopal, and he argued, he said, well, how do you take care of the deity in this way? The Lord appeared in dreams to Sanatana Goswami and told him that don't interfere with my relationship with my devotees. In the case of even Sri Ramanujacharya, a Vedanta Acharya, very powerful, he was kicked out from Jagannath Puri by Lord Jagannath to South India. He went to sleep, and in the morning he was going to change the system of worship, but the Lord Jagannath was pleased with the worship of the Shavaras. So even though they were taking care of hogs and they were not so, I mean the original system was not so we could say paradoxically not so orthodox, very orthodox in one side, on the other side not so orthodox. So Lord Jagannath liked this system and didn't want to change it. So the Lord doesn't like others to interfere in the service of other devotees. Unless we are authority, we shouldn't interfere. We should respect and value the service of others. So I would like to, one point I like to emphasize about the mission of spreading the Krishna consciousness movement worldwide is something Srila Prabhupada was preaching again and again, and especially now that ISKCON India is so big, so powerful, and sometimes I have heard from some ISKCON leaders, 90% of ISKCON men and resources are in India. Some say 75%, and some say 90%, whatever it is. But I would like to read a class. There are actually dozens of quotes of Srila Prabhupada quoting the Bharata Bhumite verse. It's in chapter 9 of Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Srila Prabhupada explains that we need the cooperations of all kinds of devotees to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. And I am 90 many plus % convinced, and maybe Srila Prabhupada's disciples present here can correct me or confirm after the class if it's correct what I'm saying or not. I know politically maybe may not sound very good now. I'm asking something that needs to be discussed in the ICC or in the Bureau or wherever has to be discussed. But anyway, I think the truth should be spoken clearly, and then if you don't like what I'm saying, then don't ask me to give class. I will continue repeating this until it is done. So I'm going to read something, Srila Prabhupada's arrival in Delhi in 1971. I'll read, it's a few minutes, but it's worthy. This is one of the many quotes. You can look, if you look at all the quotes also in Srila Prabhupada's purports, there are dozens of quotes of this. So the point is that as Srila Prabhupada was sending men from the West to India, when India was not strong, was starting. And so similarly, Srila Prabhupada, my understanding is that will send men from India to the West, but not a few preachers, few sannyasis. Will send many men to preach, coordinated. That's something that is badly needed for the spreading of the worldwide Krishna consciousness movement. I traveled to some temples in the West, and that's badly needed. The Russians and Ukrainians, they are more present. They do Harinam. So in some temples in Spain, we have Harinam programs, regular Harinam programs, thanks to the Russian and Ukrainian devotees who come. So the Indians could do the same, even though you don't need to speak the language. Sing beautiful kirtans and help to spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So Srila Prabhupada is saying in his arrival lecture, New Delhi, 10th November 1971. So Lord Chaitanya preached this Krishna Sankirtan, and he ordered every Indian, it is the duty of Indian to take our birth on the holy land of India. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Bharata Bhumite Manushya Janma Hoilayara. This is a quote, Adi Lila 9:41, the translation. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharata Varsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. And Prabhupada repeats, anyone who has taken birth in this holy land of Bharata Varsha, Jamma Sartaka Kori, just make your life perfect and distribute the knowledge all over the world. Janma Sartaka Kori Kara Para Upakar. India is meant for doing welfare activities to the world, but we have forgotten that. We are trying to imitate the Western country and technology, and we have thrown out our Vedic treasure house, our transcendental knowledge treasure house. So my Guru Maharaj ordered me long ago, when I was 25 years old. My Guru Maharaj ordered me to go to the foreign countries and preach Lord Chaitanya's message. But somehow or other, I could not assimilate his order until I was 70 years old. Srila Prabhupada is speaking in his humility. He was meditating his whole life how to, in the instruction of his spiritual master. But on his humility, he said, I could not assimilate. So also I was trying how to make a successful tour for preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message. So by the grace of my Guru Maharaj and by your blessings, I went to the Western countries and had a very good response. I went there empty-handed with 40 rupees in my pocket and free ticket, return ticket, by the Sindhi Steam Navigation Company. And for 1 year, I had no place to live. I had no money to eat. Still, I was going here and there. Then in 1966, I went in America in 1965. After struggling for 1 year, in 1966, I incorporated this Krishna Consciousness, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So some of our friends suggested, why not make God Consciousness Society? And no, Krishna Consciousness. If I make God Consciousness, that will be a vague task. Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Therefore, distinguished should be the Society for Krishna Consciousness. So these boys, when I started my class, 26 2nd Avenue, some of these students were coming, and then I started my kirtan at the Tompkinson Square Park, sitting on the ground floor. These boys and the girls were coming. That was the first publicity made in the New York Times about my kirtan, and gradually it developed. Next branch was opened at San Francisco. We have, at that time, 65 branches all over the world, 1971. And each branch, there are maximum 200 devotees like this, a minimum 25 devotees at least. And this temple didn't exist yet. This was not there at the moment. Spending $20,000 per month, which is in Indian exchange, 2 lakhs of rupees. Similarly, we're spending $10,000 in New York. Of course, the exchange have changed since then. In this way, we have to spend 7 lakhs of rupees per month for maintaining all these men. And we have got big publication like this. When I went to the Western country, I brought only 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam in the temple of our Sri Krishna Sharma. He gave me shelter there, and he was publishing these books. And actually, Lalji also contributed something for my publication. So in this way, I went there with 3 books. We have got over 3,000 books, all beautifully published. Anyone knows this Lalji? Is Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was the president of India, or is someone else? Prime Minister was. So Lalji refers to him. I don't know if he refers to him. I know Srila Prabhupada had presented the Srimad Bhagavatam to him, so probably he's referring to him. Because he was welcomed by the dignitaries of India, came to welcome him at the airport. Anyway, I'm reading because it conveys the mood of Srila Prabhupada of spreading Krishna consciousness. So, then Srila Prabhupada again insists on the same point. I'm jumping a little bit because the class is a bit long and we don't have so much time. And if you think that you want to understand through science and philosophy, we have got 3,000 books. Anyway, please come. That is our appeal. Don't take this movement neglectfully. It is very serious movement, Krishna consciousness movement, and it is the duty of all Indians, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted. Bharata bhumite manushya jamma hoilayar, jamma shartaka kori, kara para upakara. There is a great need for this movement. We want hundreds and thousands of preachers to go outside of India and preach this cult. And there are customers ready. Wherever we are opening our branches, it appears as if they are awaiting our arrival. Please, whoever are the respected authorities of ISKCON India, if you hear my lecture, please don't mind that I speak like that, and I don't mean to empty your temples, but yeah, if we send preachers, more will come. And sometimes we have some senior devotees, they don't know what to do because there are too many powerful people in one temple, and they need to go elsewhere in India. it's important to develop the movement in a balanced way. We cannot have not sensible. It has to be one movement, integrated, and there should be a strong cooperation between a strong ISKCON India and ISKCON West. I don't say it is weak. There are many good things going on in the West, but comparatively speaking, it is unbalanced. So we need to balance it out. So anyway, thank you very much for listening patiently to the lecture. But this is the main point I wanted to share. We are meant to be instruments in the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his emissary, his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada and his servants. And we need to work together to spread this movement to every town and village. And for that we need to empower hundreds and thousands of preachers to spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. If you like to make comments or questions, the Srila Prabhupada's disciples, you like to speak, and correct me if it sounds too challenging.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
But I'm ready for arguing back if required.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. You mentioned that Muchukanda was very tired, and because of that he took rest, and you related it to your own life and a sadhaka's life like us. So in my case, I also feel very tired sometimes and take proper rest. But in general, in Kali Yuga, tendency is that we overdo everything. When we are serving, we do so much service or overrun ourselves, and in that case, our body becomes very weak, and we go to extremes. And when we go to take rest, then also we go to extreme and take means much more extra rest, that much is required. So this going to extreme tendency is there in each case. So how do we overcome this tendency and balance that requisite amount of rest and requisite amount of service? How do we judge that? How do we understand that properly?
Yes, in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, we find Krishna's instruction that one cannot practice yoga. We practice bhakti yoga. So can practice yoga, for us bhakti yoga, properly if one eats too much or eats too little, or sleeps too much or sleeps too little. So we need to find our own balance. It may not be the same for each one. There are many factors involved. There is the doshas, according to Ayurveda, the psychophysical constitution of the person. Some people need more sleep than others. The age of the person may also change. The health of the person, how healthy the person is, and also the spiritual advancement of the person, and ultimately how Krishna has made that particular person to engage, in the case of devotees, to engage that devotee in a particular service. My little take on this is that if we don't sleep and eat properly in a balanced way, then we have to later on sleep anyway because we become ill, and then what's the point? Better to have a balanced lifestyle and then keep healthier for longer time, then we are able to offer more steady service. If we force too much, then we collapse. Doesn't make sense. We could say, okay, but Muchukunda did it, and he fought until he was extremely tired. Sometimes we need to do it, like in the Chaitanya Charitamrita 2-month publishing marathon in Los Angeles. Some of you may, Srila Prabhupada's disciples may have been there. Who was there? Anyone? Where? In Los Angeles, the 2-month publishing marathon for publishing Chaitanya Charitamrita. Devotees who are not sleeping, or sometimes I was told that sometimes devotees will be literally, somebody found devotees sleeping inside a wardrobe because they didn't have time to sleep. They had to finish 17 volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita in 2 months. That was the instruction of Srila Prabhupada. So they had to do it by hook or by crook. And that statement, which has been sometimes misused in the past, but they had to do it by hook or by crook, no sleeping, practically speaking. When they couldn't resist anymore, they would sleep anywhere.
You print all these books in 17 days, no?
2 months.
In 2 months, he said?
17 books.
17 books in 2 months. And Rameswar said it's impossible. And then that classical answer of Srila Prabhupada, impossible is the word of a fool's dictionary.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? I don't know how strict. Anyway, Panchabodha Prabhu is the boss, so you stop me if it goes too long.
It's a good point you brought up that in America, Srila Prabhupada spread Krishna consciousness and instilled in his leaders to take responsibilities of going out, opening centers, and then bringing them to India. And we've seen since 71 many temples and Indian yatra growing very strongly and powerfully, maybe close to 100, centers and temples. And there may be some disagreements from the east to the west concerning culture, heritage or whatever. There's certain things. Prabhupada was performing marriages as a sannyasi. He said most people would not accept that, but he saw that he needed to encourage both according to time, place, and circumstance. So just from my observation, I see that sometimes there's disagreement, but ultimately, the more we try to at least keep the basics, the steady Prabhupada's morning program, the philosophy, and the rules and regulations, then the details and intricacies will be getting worked out as time goes. I know that sometimes people feel, India is now the most powerful, and they're doing, but as you mentioned, in other places around the world, they pioneered, and also it's developing there. So as from an external point of view, I don't think that personally that it's going to slow down the movement. I think that we'll get more clarity as we work together, and some of the disagreements will be secondary to the basic principle of being faithful to Prabhupada with gratitude and following the basic rules and regulations. You want to say something?
Thank you very much.
It's a big subject. Big subject. But I think the main point is for us, we need to work on ourselves. We work on ourselves. Prabhupada's method was we address everyone else as Prabhu. It was very difficult to find improprieties in someone if you see them as your master. He said you always should look to yourself to see if I see some defect, I should understand what that is in myself. But as he said, everything comes together during kirtan. So the morning program and the evening program is both very important, because whatever goes on during the day, you say different ways of seeing things, different cultures, the one thing that unites all of us is chanting. There's no difference in chanting, just like this morning, Panubhata Prabhu, so enthusiastic. Everyone was there chanting together. Everyone was happy. Everyone smiling. So this is what makes everything work. And that is the process. Lord Chaitanya's process is chanting, group chanting, Harinam.
Whenever there was a disturbance in a class, Prabhupada said, okay, now just chant Hare Krishna. So he stopped fighting and arguing by getting the chanting going.
The other...
But what about the point about sending preachers to the West? Because that was the main point, an important point. I'm mentioning because I think it's essential, it's required. And we cannot wait until years pass by. For me, it's very clear. Srila Prabhupada, this is his home. He came from Vrindavan to touring the world. If preachers need to be sent from India to the West.
And what Srila Prabhupada said also was he studied the Western culture for a year. So he didn't go to America and try to impose his understanding, his culture upon Americans. He said he studied how to present Krishna consciousness to them. And that's what he did. He did everything necessary. And as he said, of course, the biggest adjustment he made was allowing women in the temple. He said otherwise there was no question of spreading Krishna consciousness around the world. So he said that was the biggest adjustment that he made. So who else could have made such an adjustment?
Thank you. We can organize courses for training the Indian preachers who come to the West. The Mormons do that. They have a university, Brigham Young University. And all the youth of their community, they go to that university and they are trained. They go 2 years as missionaries all over the world. I went to preach to Cape Verde, a very small country, 1 million people, and you found the Mormons there, very dressed in American style. Prabhu?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is going on in America to a large extent. If you look at all the temples in North America, so many of them now are managed by Indian devotees. And, you know, it's in a lot of ways a little bit different movement than when Prabhu was here. I mean, when Prabhu was here, there was one thing, it was the ashram. And you joined the ashram, you know, and you became a brahmachari or a brahmacharini. And now the movement's, you know, 2, 3, 4 generations of devotees. Now they've entered mainstream society a lot more and things. But I wanted to mention something a little bit, just because you were describing very nicely the verse about Muchukunda. What came to mind was how sweet the relationship is between Krishna and his pure devotees. Because, and you obviously, Muchukunda was a very exalted devotee to get that kind of association. But Krishna says that he does one thing and he accomplishes many different purposes. So he arranged in such a way that he would kill this demon by inspiring Muchukunda with the words that I just want to sleep, and if anyone wakes me up, I want him to be burned to ashes. So somehow or other, how Krishna is arranging all these amazing things, and it should inspire us also to come to that platform, because the more and more we become purified in our devotional service, the more the Lord can can use us as his instrument in many amazing ways that we might not even be able to imagine.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada mentions in Krishna book on this chapter how Krishna does many things in the same time. So he was combining the arrangement that Prabhu mentioned. And Muchukunda wanted to sleep, but then he will burn to ashes the demon he didn't want to touch. So Krishna is very expert. I don't know how much time we have. There are few hands, but
Take one more.
one more. One of the Matajis, one of the ladies. Maybe Prabhupada Priya Mataji, maybe.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. I was just thinking that, you know, when Srila Prabhupada went to America, he had to study the culture for a year because he had no previous exposure to it. There was no one there to teach him anything about it, you know. But now it's a totally different situation. If an Indian devotee, young Indian devotee wants to, or any Indian devotee wants to go to America to preach, you just plug into a preaching group that's already going on. You know, the temple's there, the ashrams are there, the deities are there, prasadam's there. all the support is there. You just need to connect with someone and then just go out with the other devotees who are preaching and just help. It's so easy now. So I just wanted to give a little word of encouragement there. If anybody's interested, we can connect you.
Very good point, thank you. Yes, you don't have to loiter in the street for 1 year like Srila Prabhupada did. So you have wood prasadam and thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.